Well, I'm here with the legend, Emmitt Smith, the all-time leading rusher in the NFL, and we're here in Arizona. We're at the Omni Resort right now, so you're here for a really cool reason.
Yeah.
I could say it, but I want to hear it in your words. So why are you here this weekend?
I'm here, for tailgating tomorrow at the ASU Kansas game, representing Emergent and Narcan nasal spray to continue to spread awareness around opioid overdoses. And so Narcan and the Ready Rescue campaign has been in existence now, and this is year 2. So we're continuing to push what I would call is good news in terms of helping people understand that opioid overdoses can occur and can happen at any point in time to anyone. And so we have this saying, hence the Ready to Rescue campaign. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So that's what we're talking about, and that's what we're looking forward to visiting with different students and family members tomorrow at the game.
So this is the third of 4th tailgates this season that you're going to. What is it that you look to do when you're on these campuses? I know you throughout the weekend you're going to different frat houses, Greek life, things like that. What are you looking
Well,
to
it's
do?
great to just meet people. Meet people and talk about what we're doing and the mission around it. Because on every campus, we've always ran into someone or run into someone that either know a person that had experienced an opioid overdose, or have a loved one close to them that may be experiencing an opioid issue. And now we're just saying, here are things that you can have within your house, on your purse or in your gym bag, just in case you run across someone that might be in a crisis situation.
So I know you touched on it a little bit, but what is it that people need to know about Narcan?
Well, they need to know that the Narcan nasal spray it can help revive a person if we get it in them in time. Time is of the essence. Anytime you run across someone that's non-responsive, purple lips, eyes can be dilated, and non-responsive, we don't have much time. So call 911 or lay them down on the ground and insert the nasal spray into the nostril. Then definitely get 911 there for sure, and just stay there and wait and just be with that person.
So a lot of people in your position, all the things you've gotten to do, a lot of them do support causes. For you, what led your attention to the opioid epidemic? Because this is one of the leading causes of death, if not, I think it is the leading cause of accidental death in the U.S. So what for you?
Yeah. For me, I've experienced it through my own family members. My sister-in-law, who was battling cancer at the time and had medication that was prescribed for her, pain medication and everything else. And so there was a point in time where she was taking so much pain medication to where she actually had an accidental overdose a couple times. So we had to get the EMTs to come in to help resolve that situation. Former teammate passed away with an overdose. And just recently, one of my good friends lost a son to opioid overdose. And then you start hearing about some of the celebrities across the board that are dying because of fentanyl and other things, drugs and so forth, which is all around this arena of opioid overdoses and opioid emergency. So with Narcan on hand, you have the ability to rescue someone. And I think that ability gives, if you have it on you, which gives everybody an opportunity to have something on them, whether it's in your gym bag or whether it's in your purse or whether it's in your locker or whether it's the EMTs have it all, the police have it all, fire department have it all. We as citizens need to equip ourselves to be ready to rescue someone that might be in need.
The stigma behind it. So my eyes were open to it a couple years ago. Me and a couple of my teammates worked on a documentary. It was a former Stanford athlete here, two-sport star, actually played with Christian McCaffrey at Stanford, 26 years old, was going through all kinds of things mentally, got a Percocet from a friend, ended up overdosing because there was fentanyl in it. And so the headlines, early on were, another athlete dies of a drug overdose. But that wasn't the story. It actually turned out further he had stage 2 CTE. So there was a lot going on there.
Right.
So what have you learned through your experiences and through going through this about the stigma behind it? Because it's not just this person's a drug addict.
Well, most of the time you have a stigma around things that you don't know about. And so this is all about education. This is all about awareness. And so to bridge the gap of stigmas and so forth, people got to be aware. And the first thing is to, one, humble thyself and say, okay, this is an epidemic, and this is something that's going around the country. And just by taking an innocent Percocet that's laced with something could be deadly. And that can be to anyone, whether or not you have CTE or whether or not you're just a normal person just walking down the road and have a headache, whatever it may be. All these things are in play right now because of the way drugs have been laced or the where you buying them from. With Narcan nasal spray, you can get it over the counter. You can have it delivered to you through Amazon. So there's access to things that can help prevent certain types of overdose. But if you want to take it bigger, we as individuals have to take on the responsibility of taking better care of ourselves, some way, shape, or form, and understand that we just shouldn't be taking a Percocet from just a friend, or a Percocet from a stranger, or a Percocet from someone else. And I'm using the word Percocet, but it could be any form of medication. So at the end of the day, that is a responsibility I think that falls upon us as influencers, us as leaders, us as parents, us as adults, and so forth. So that's what we just have to step up and be our very best version of ourselves.
So this platform that I have you on right now, it's called Starting the Conversation. It's conversations like this and in other areas as well. So I'd love to pick your brain a little bit as well. Being an NFL Hall of Famer, being an alum, seeing a lot of people maybe battling silently through things like CTE. What's that been like for you as you've gotten to the stage of, when you played, it wasn't talked about, now it's a conversation for a lot of guys. Dudes are making decisions based on, okay, if I play longer, yes, I'm going to make more money, but, my head might be in the wrong place when I'm gone. So,
well,
like?
The thing about CTE is no one knows when it starts or when it stops. All we know is it just shows up. Kind of like aging. I mean, I didn't know when I was going to get this gray, but it just showed up. So as you keep living long enough, things are going to happen. Body will break down, et cetera, et cetera. So, but in our sport, which is such a physical sport, the likelihood of having brain trauma or having trauma to the head is very high because of the sport that we play. I mean, you cannot remove the head when you're going in to make a tackle, or you cannot remove the head when you're going in and I'm running the football. I got to use something, and it's going to be shoulder pads and helmet, trying to work my way through a defender. However, I will say this. Those things that are unavoidable, there are things that we can do to help prepare and take care of our bodies. And that is aftercare. That is doing all the things that you need to do. Maybe it's reducing, maybe it's getting the proper sleep. Maybe it's a combination of both. But nowadays they have new technology that can get you in a deep REM sleep fairly quick in just 25 minutes or so. So these are new machines that these young kids now have at the collegiate level. They're probably starting to have it at the professional level to help guys recover mentally, physically, and emotionally, because just new technology has been developed.
You're already all over the record books, but if you had that when you were playing, do you think it would have made a difference for you too?
I think some of the things that these guys have access to would have probably made a difference. But my regimen was pretty tight and pretty nice anyway, because I was doing things that others were not doing. I was taking vitamins and minerals and everything else before they became really popular over the counter. I mean, EFAs, digestive minerals, digestive pills, vitamin minerals, just different things, calcium and iron and everything else, just to keep my blood stabilized and keep me stabilized. Seeing chiropractors, having massage therapists, just doing different types of things just to keep my body in the best shape that I possibly could, and my mind in the best shape that I possibly could. I mean, there come a point in time where rest becomes extremely, extremely important, and you have to make that decision. Should I go out tonight and hang out till 1 or 2 o'clock, or should I come in and give me proper rest? So you have to manage. That's why I say the best care resides on the best responsibility of the healthcare can be on the individual. The outside forces are what the outside forces are. My job is in a critical, is in a very physical position like football. I know some of the risks that I'm taking, so therefore I need to take extra precaution when I'm not playing football.
So it's fascinating because, obviously there were athletes like yourself ahead of the curve in that stuff. Was there somebody that was teaching you about the vitamins? Was it something you just picked up on early yourself? Where'd that come from?
Here's where some of this stuff came from for me. I mean, in 1991, my very first off season, I'm going hunting with my high school team doctor who happened to be a chiropractor. He was my very first chiropractor. And I'm taking an Indocin tablet, right, for my knees because I was having tendonitis in my knees from running on the AstroTurf the whole entire season. And so he asked the question about it, and I told him what I was taking. He asked me why. I told him why I was taking it, and he proceeded to tell me, he said, don't do it. He said, get rid of that stuff. That stuff is going to be harsh on your kidneys, et cetera, as you get older. So if you need to take something mild. This was his advice. Take a little Advil, take a little Tylenol, and you only take it on an as-needed basis. That's enough right there. This other stuff is too hard for you. So I start cutting things out. But I also noticed that the Indocin was too strong for me too, because I would have headaches the next day. And that's when I realized how strong it was. So certain medicine that was too strong for me, and I knew it was going to be a problem, I eliminated them right then and there. And even when I had surgeries, like I had surgeries on my ankle and so forth, yeah, they give you a little morphine thing, but at the end of the day, you come to realize that, hey, I don't need to be on this stuff, and I don't need to be on it long, and so I don't want to get hooked. I don't need to be dependent upon it, so I need to get rid of it as soon as possible and work my way back to naturally working my way back to being healthy.
I mean, that speaks into the reason why you're here as well, the opioid problem. That's where it kind of starts almost innocently. It appears on the outside at least. Where
on the outside it does, because what's happening is a person is trying to alleviate the pain because they either in so much pain, and pain is different for everybody, completely different. I mean, my pain tolerance may be completely different than yours, and vice versa. So what may be good for me might not be good for you. You may need to get more, but if you get more, you have to know where you're going. And there's certain things that some people do, they take it and they mix it with other stuff, whether it's liquor or anything else to enhance it. You know that's a no-no, but you're doing it for whatever reason there might be. And so, again, a lot of the responsibility on how we take care of ourselves is ours. It's on us. Not a doctor on the planet is telling you to take this and go drink a bottle of liquor. Not a doctor on the planet is telling you that. And so, but where doctors are come into play is when they overly prescribe things without asking questions.
Well, that falls back again on the personal responsibility, the awareness. That's why these conversations are important, because some might not think about it. You're going to blindly trust, like, hey, I'm given this, let's take it, and all of a sudden a week later you're like, I need a refill, and no one's saying no, and then problems might arise.
You got to ask yourself the question, why do I need a refill? And if the doctor's not asking the question, why do you need a refill of this? This is a pretty strong drug. I mean, he knows better. They know better. But yet, when dollars is involved, things happen. Hence, that's what happened to Matthew Perry. People took advantage of his weaknesses, and therefore it led to certain things happening, period.
Absolutely. Here with Emmitt Smith, and just a couple of things. I want to pivot, while I got you here a little bit into, college football. You're coming around some of these campuses. You know a lot of coaches, know a lot of players, things like that. What are you seeing in this NIL landscape? Like yesterday, we just saw it at ASU, kind of big for the first time. Tim Hovick, our friend at Santan Ford, gave 7 players brand new Mustang Mach-E electric cars that were, vehicle-less before. I mean, what's it like seeing that now?
It is wow. Because I'm asking myself, okay, who are the 7 players? What did they do to earn it? And how good are the 7 players? And do they really deserve to have that?
Right.
I think a lot of things are being given to young people right now way too soon, and without having a keenly awareness or knowledge around how the business actually works. I mean, NIL is using kids just like kids have been using NIL. They're leveraging it. And so, in my opinion, NIL is setting up the game to the point where it could actually harm the game. Players are not taking on the responsibility of competing. If you can't cut it at ASU, what makes you think you can cut it at the University of Alabama? If you can't cut it at the University of Alabama, what makes you think you can cut it at the University of Georgia? I mean, things like that. And people are going to take some of the quality players and throwing dollars at these kids, making them feel like they're professional athletes right now, which is taking over college football. Mm-hmm. And they're not professional athletes. The quarterbacks think that they're better than they really are. They can't even read coverages. Matter of fact, don't even throw the ball accurately enough. And not understanding game situations. Some players just think that they're better than they really are because the money's been thrown at them, and the university is saying, thank you, take this with you. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I think it's robbing the innocence of the game away.
I mean, there's a lot wrong with how it's operated right now. You know, the NCAA not having a central power figure and it's just being the wild, wild west. Do you see a way for this to be more, I don't even know the word, just more controlled? Because it is just crazy right now.
I don't even think you know what? More order is really what we should be talking about. Because the NCAA did open it up. And here's what the NCAA did, in my opinion. They opened it up for the wild, wild west to happen. And they're sitting back and they're watching it. And they're saying, see, we told you this was going to happen. They're not taking on the responsibility. And we're talking about a bunch of adults that are sitting up and making these decisions that's going to impact the sport and the institutions of higher education, some way, shape, or form. And they're going to get mad at the kids for jumping around and everything. Why are you going to get mad when you set it up this way? There should have been structure. There should have been a strategy, a real strategy that implements and take care of these players in such a way to where if you want to give them $2 million, you don't give it all to them at once. You give them something, and you allow them to put things aside for future gain, and that's number one. And if you're going to include have a trade or transfer mechanism, how many transfers are you going to give them? You don't give them a chance to run around the world until they find a place that they can call home because somebody think that they're better. No. If you're going to do that, how about have them sit out a year or something like that so he can get more education, get better. What's missing right now is player development. They're not developing players like they used to. And players are walking in thinking that they're already high in the hall because they came out of high school and they was highly recruited, and now they throwing money at them. The mamas and dads are pushing things a totally different direction. So the impact is significant downstream. And I think NCAA did not do the game of football any justice by opening it up to the Wild Wild West. And if they're going to do that, I probably need to go back and get some retribution myself.
What would you have wanted?
Shit, I need back pay. I was at the University of Florida for 3 years, and I know that they raised money on the backs of those 3 years. They had to raise enough money to hire Steve Spurrier to come in and take over the coaching staff and everything else. And so they included some boxes. They included the north end zone. They did a whole lot of things to set up the stadium for what it is right now. When I left, they started building it in the north end zone. So I know they raised money. And they sold a ton of 22 E. Smith jerseys. And I had a Burger King car with my picture on it and everything else. And all this stuff. And I didn't get not one red cent. Not one red cent. Yeah, people gonna say, yeah, but you got your degree. Hell, I paid for the degree when I had to come back to school because I left early. They didn't let me come back for free. I had to pay my way back because of NCAA rules. So NCAA, you did not do me any justice. You're not doing anybody any justice. So I agree with Reggie Bush. Go on, file a lawsuit. I'm right behind you.
Hey, I don't blame you at all. It's an honest, true conversation.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, think about what the NCAA did to SMU.
Yeah.
Destroyed it. The first school to get a death penalty for the same things that they're doing right now. Mm-hmm. The exact same things. And so when you think back to my era, I'll think back to Brian Bosworth when he said NCAA, you know what they stand for? National Communists Against Athletes. That's what he said. And that's a hardcore fact.
Yeah.
That's how he felt then, and now look at everything now. Now they open it up and say, okay, it's okay now. No, you done built a whole lot of things off of the backs of people that came before any of these kids got here, but inspire these kids to even come here and do these things. And now you're going to open up to the wild, wild west without any structure on it? That's not cool. That's not right. And yeah, it's just not right.
Yeah, I agree, and that's good stuff there. I do want to go one more direction before we get out of here. You know, with you are all over the place. You're obviously here. You're making the rounds, doing tailgates.
And I got an opinion about everything, and none of my opinions really matter.
Hey, they should hold some weight. We'll see what we can do there. You know, I don't think we have any power either, but you know, we try. We all bang the door on that. But you're everywhere. You know, you're making TV appearances. You're doing all kinds of cool things. What drives you to just continue to be out there and do your thing all over?
You know, I guess what drives me is being able to spread, obviously take advantage of the platform to do good things with the platform versus doing all the kind of things that just only benefit me. I'm a firm believer that if you can share wisdom and spread wisdom and help other people along the way, then I'm doing my part as an American citizen to try to help people become better individuals themselves and hopefully inspiring them to become better. One way or the other, because everyone has a decision to make. They can ignore the things that are bad, and they can acknowledge the things that are bad, and then do something to correct the things that are bad. Because in football, we're always trying to improve who we are as a team. Therefore, we always look at our losses, and we analyze how we perform, what happened, and everything else. And to me, life is somewhat the same way. And so nothing. If you're not trying to get better, then you're staying the same. If you're staying the same, you're regressing. If we're regressing, no one is moving forward. So at the end of the day, it's about just helping people become the best version of themselves. And my life in football is over with, but I got the rest of it ahead of me, and I'm trying to improve every day.
Well, I asked that because I get this question from people a lot. It's like, why do these retired athletes with all this money, they still do things? Like, why would they not just sit home and do nothing? I'm like, well, they got in that position because they're not thinking about themselves.
Exactly. We got in this position because we're not thinking about ourselves, and we got in this position because we work hard and we continue to work hard. And we don't want to stop working, because the day that you stop working, then you just sit stagnant. When you sit stagnant, stuff don't move. When you see a puddle of water just sitting there, and you see all the gnats and everything in it, because nothing is moving. It's dying. And even though it's water just sitting there, and then other debris is getting in it and everything else. And for me, that's how life is. It's that individual that want to sit back and rest on one victory. I've had many victories in my life. And every victory has led to new learning, new opportunities, and new experiences, and new processes and everything else. And I love it. And so when you haven't tasted victory at the multiple levels like I have, then I guess you can sit back and say, I'm good, I'm happy. But that's good for you. For me, I'm happy too. And I'm going to continue to live my life, and I'm going to continue to do the things that I've been called to do and live out my purpose. And my purpose is not just for football. I have a life purpose as well.
Absolutely. Well, Emmitt, I appreciate the time. Last thing, if you want to give us, the saying on Narcan, I want to make sure we get that out there and what people need to know.
It's the Ready to Rescue campaign. Go to Narcan.com to get more information around opioid overdoses. And don't forget, you can get it over the counter at any of the grocery stores, at any of the pharmacies, and also on Amazon.
Appreciate it so much,
Yes,
Emmitt.
sir. Thank you.
Absolutely.